Welcome to episode 15 of my creative journey. This is so exciting. It is me, Gideon Slide, and today I want to share with you how to use water to remove paint from your canvas or your art journal to create interesting patterns and textures in the background. Yes, you've heard right. Removal of paint can be as exciting and beautiful as applying paint. So today I'm going to show you how I created this page in my art journal using a splatter technique and removing of paint. So that's going to be exciting, eh? So give me a second, let me turn my camera around and let me show you how. Hi, my name is Gideon. I'm also known as Gideon Slide. Welcome to my studio, and I'm your creatively fit coach. So join me now. Right, so in my journal, what I've already done here for you guys to prepare for today's demonstration is just another page in my journal. Previously, I played with my oil pastels and just breaking in the page, so to speak, so that when I turn the page, it's not just a stock open page, but I have something to spark some inspiration and a point from where I can begin to play. So these are little pages that I printed on the jelly plate and created some marks, and always it's a good idea to play with a limiting palette in order to secure success or guarantee success, whatever you prefer. Now, I have to just reference this little exercise. I did this layer on top of this blue little mono print. It was a beautiful mandala exercise that I did along with Angela Murray. She's one of our master creative coaches over on the creative coaching core, and I really enjoyed the way that she used this beautiful way of creating a word or symbol mandala, and I used the word expanse or expansion or expanding as a way to initiate some personal growth and development, and this is how that turned out. So I do want to sort of in a way make sure that I don't lose it all, that some of it does come forward on this page, but you know, if I don't, then it's also not the end of the world. I can always do it again, right? So up until now, I have just sealed this page with my acrylic glazing medium matte, and that will just ensure that this demonstration of this acrylic technique goes really well. So if you are going to work on paper in your art journal, I would really recommend that whatever you have, that you do seal it first, because it's going to make your life easier when removing paint with your water, and that is our theme for today. So what will you need? You definitely will need some acrylic paint, and what I've got here today is just an acrylic color that I got from art supply store, and I really like these pastels, and I've been playing with them in my studio. In fact, I think some of these colors are from these tubes, so I think it will work really well. You will definitely need just a brush to apply your acrylic medium or your paint with. I think you can use a kitchen towel for the one way to remove it, and I've also brought my catalyst wedge. because I'm going to try a different way of removing the paint today that I've seen another artist do. So I've never tried it before, so today will be a first. So to get started, let me grab my palette so that we can dilute some paint. Apply a layer of Payne's Grey. I'm just going to activate my brush here with a bit of water just to improve the fluidity of my paint so that it's not too thick. This technique you can use on your canvas or on any art material that you are referring to work in. I just like playing in my art journal because it gives me that opportunity to play and not take life so seriously. So I'm going to do this again on this page, and I'm going to add in a layer of Payne's Grey. I'm just going to give it some directionality here with my brush. Looks nice. So you can see that feels almost like it covered up quite a bit. I'm now going to come in with my little fan brush and give it a good old splatter. And you remember when we played with the alcohol, in moving paint with alcohol, that was also quite a lot of fun. So you guys can check out my playlist of the Creative Weekly HeART prompts, and you guys will find that alcohol technique there for you to use. Now this little drip is really moving quite a bit, so it's going to create something interesting. I'm not going to try and control it in any way, so I'm just giving the water and the paint an opportunity here to interact. The paint is beginning to cure and to dry, while the areas that have a water droplet on it obviously cannot dry because there's water on it. Now, one of the artists that I absolutely love to follow, and I like watching what she does, it's always so exciting, uses a wedge or some kind of firmer material like this in order to remove the water. So we're going to give it a try now. I've never tried it, so let's see. I think the paint is cured enough, and if it scratches it, it's also fine. So basically she pulls it down like this. Wow, that's actually quite nice. I'm going to go ahead and catch this excess water here with my tissue. Yay, that's exciting. That worked rather well, and it definitely gave me a different look to what I'm used to. I'm just used to, you know, lifting up very exact places where the water is preventing the paint from drying. So this gives me a bit of a drag effect as well, which is very nice, because this really opened up that bit of the mandala that I still want to see glimmering through. And the blue hue in the Payne's Grey is still complementary to my page. So it's not something that's really taking all my color away. So let's try that again on this bumpy side, seeing that I smeared some of my Payne's Grey there. That's okay. Let me see, I think I might need a little bit more Payne's Grey. I'm just mixing off camera here, just getting the paint ready for an application. This is quite moody and I quite like it. It sort of fits my mood today. There's a lot on my plate and it's exciting that there's a lot on my plate. I'm always grateful. There's at least never boredom. So I'm having an open studio tonight with the creative coaches, and that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to use my little fan brush again. Let's create some finer droplets here because I don't want it to run again. And I think you can see here where the bigger water droplets dropped, how immediately it's sort of pulling the paint towards itself while the rest of the paint has an opportunity to cure. So this is just one way. This is why I share this with you guys. This is just one way to remove paint in an interesting way to create a beautiful, interesting underlayer. There's a variety of means and methods and techniques in order to remove paint. I mean, you can literally just use a wet wipe as well, and while paint is drying you can remove paint. You can just use your kitchen towel and just dab paint away on a section that you feel maybe the paint was too thick or something like that. So this creates a very particular kind of pattern, a splatter in a reverse kind of way, because you are covering up a section or a page with a color and then you're removing parts of it. You allow, you know, the underneath layers to show through in a different way. So in a way I almost call this negative painting splatter removal because you're removing the inside, whereas if you used a normal splatter technique you will actually add paint in that positive way. This is in a way a method to remove the negative part of it. So I'm just going to give this paint spray a little bit more time to settle, because this page is not as exciting to me yet. And then I'm just going to use my kitchen towel to lift it up. And the parts where the paint has dried will obviously stay, and any parts that is still wet is going to lift off to the kitchen towel. Just always remember to move your kitchen towel around, because as it gets damp from removing wet paint, you don't want parts of tissue or kitchen towel to stick to your page. So that's just a pro tip I can give you if you're going to do it this way. Otherwise, I find laying a fresh sheet of kitchen towel down and then just gently rubbing on it so that it absorbs the water and lifting it up in one go is a definite winner. You see, here I've got some kitchen towel. There we go. Nice. Okie dokie, we have success. So you can see technique wise what another opportunity this method provides you with in order to create visual texture, a feeling of water, just creating interesting layers that you can build one on top of the other in order to create a beautiful work of art. So I'm excited to see how you guys are going to apply this simple technique to your art journal or to your canvas. So if you have never tried this, definitely give it a go. And if you've tried this before and you like it, tell me about it in a comment. I would love to hear from you guys. And if you can, take a photograph of your work and share it with us on our Facebook group, The Creative Heart. And I always love to see what you guys do. So I'm going to continue to play with this art journal page of mine. I'm going to let this dry, and I will show you how I create something interesting with this going forward. All right. Right, this is exciting. This page is dried and I can really see the beautiful texture, visual texture that the splatter technique has given me where I've lifted off the paint. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create some interest on this page using my collage elements. And one of the things that I am bringing forward today is an ordinary gift bag. You know those gift bags that people bring you your birthday gifts in? Some of these gift bags are total works of art on their own, and I do try to recycle them, but you know, sometimes the size is just too small for what you want to use it for, or in my case, I think this is really beautiful, so I'm going to use it as a collage element. Now, I looked at my page, and to me, this really is a beautiful landscape already. This to me feels like water reflecting what is above here, and it feels like a evening starry sky with some interesting, I don't know, phenomena or event happening in the sky, and it's reflecting down into the water. So that is inspiring me. So it feels a little bit like a watery theme. So I'm gonna go with that. So I thought that I wanted something dark and moody up here for clouds, and this section on this gift bag paper, it is a bit thick, but you know what, I'm gonna try. It's my art journal, so this is where I experiment. I'm gonna tear a piece of this out and see if it will work in my page. And then I've also brought some variety of my collage elements out of my collage collection, and I really drew on some of my oranges and blues in a variety of papers that I think I can use on this page, so that I don't have to dig too far for you know, something to add to the page in order to sort of create this picture that I have in my mind. I did want to share with you guys a little bit here. Forgive how this will look, but here is my collage box. I got one of these boxes from my salon where I get my supplies in, and I'm just arranging all of my papers and collage material in here so that it is easy for me to find, seeing that I collect a lot of tissue paper. And today I also blessed myself with quite a collection of neutral tissue paper, because these are great to play with on your canvas in a painting, because there's nothing printed on them. They're just beautiful translucent tissue papers. Here is a pack of that one that I used last week in my page, one of my favorite. So you can just, you know, always collect and ask your friends to donate to you a variety of tissue papers. If they buy a pack, they must keep one for you and bring it to you. So I'm telling all my friends, if they buy napkins, or if they go through their materials at home and they find napkins and they don't want it anymore, they must not throw it away. They can always give it to me. So I store it in a box like this, and I keep it organized so that you know, it's easy for me to dig right back into it and get to, you know, a particular piece that I enjoy. And you all know the scrap bag. This is where I put in little scraps from previous collage exercises, and sometimes this is exactly where I find a little nugget of gold in order to finish a page, or to, you know, have a focal point on that page. So that's just a little tip I can give you. If you are going to use heavier paper like this, then I will suggest that you also switch to a stronger glue, just to make sure that it adheres to your paper, and you can always just use your wedge just to you know, really secure it onto your page. So I'm going to pause the video and then I'm going to come back to this creation phase. I'm not going to talk while I'm created. I will see if I can do a voiceover if needed to explain some of what I'm doing while I'm doing it, just so that I can have my creative thoughts with me. So enjoy as I create this page. Right, so this page of mine is nearly dry, sort of dry, almost dry. I did use my hairdryer on it, but I just wanted to use my oil pastels now just to bring some of these elements together. I don't like this white edge down here. It works for me in the top because it sort of suggests clouds. It's a very abstraction of a sunset with clouds in the sky with some interesting textures in the background. So I'm thinking that this little bit of white here at the bottom can do with a little bit of a color wash, and I do like myself a little bit of multimedia, and this is just my water soluble oil pastels, and I love using it as a way to just bring in some, you know, extra color or movement, just to harmonize the page a little bit in a way that is, you know, supporting the whole vibe. And I just wanted to create this sort of feeling of reflection and water giving us those textures and interesting little patterns, so that this is all harmonized a little bit and also interesting at the same time. I'm going to talk a little bit of those movements in the water and just some reflections. Let's bring in a little bit of white to soften it here and there. Talk a little bit more of those light reflective moments. And I also just wanted to use a little bit of a brighter orange here in my sun, to just bring this forward as well as an element of wow. And I think a little bit of the sky blue as well. Just marrying some of these layers together with a little bit of my oil pastel can create a little bit of harmony and movement and just bring the pattern forward. So there we have it. We've played with splatters and created very interesting background, and then today we played with our collage elements. I've used everything from gift bags to self-made papers to tissue papers to board tissue paper and previous collage elements from my scrap bag. Here I've used this little image of a bird that just caught a fish, and you see the reflections of the bird in the water, and I really think this speaks to the mind when the viewer looks at this in the art journal, to see this is water, the sun, the sky, and that tells a story for me. So I really hope that you've enjoyed today's episode, and I'm looking forward to spending some more time with you next week. So I wanted to just come up close so that you guys can see a little bit more in detail all of these layers and techniques as they are on the page, with all the interesting and beautiful textures. And then as we pan out, we see how this interesting and beautiful sunset image comes together, all inspired by the movement on the page on the right and our paint splatter water remove technique that we explored together today. So this was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to spending more time with you in the next episode. So stay creative, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye for now.